all of our planning processes in Medfield moving forward. So, well, you know, our path has changed a little bit, but our goal is still the same: is to come up with a plan that addresses growth and the other issues that we're going to be looking at in Medfield out 25 years, and try to plan for that. So with that, we again want to thank you and welcome you, and I will turn it over to Daphne, our head of our consultant team, who is going to run a presentation, and then we'll look for some feedback throughout the process. And then for those that want to hang around after that, we'll have some other opportunities to participate. So Daphne.
Thank you, Jay. And welcome, everyone. It's with a little sadness that we welcome you, both because of what's been going on with health and wellness, as well as some very difficult situations, but also because we can't be together as we were in the first forum. But we are lucky that we can at least communicate in this way. This is our team. We have the whole master plan committee that we're very, very lucky to work with, and this is our consultant team. And we're all here tonight together with you. So as I said, we're lucky to have this access to this technology because it does allow us to continue. There's no need to travel, and some people like that they don't need to dress up. I actually don't like that because I like to dress up. But there are limitations, and basically the main one is that it does exclude people without computer and internet access. So I'd just like to welcome everyone, and if you could all wave, that way we could sort of be together. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to have an interactive presentation, as interactive as we possibly can, because not only are we here to share with you our ideas, but we really want to hear from you. And we're going to do that in two main ways. There are too many people, right now we're 83, to have a conversation, a live conversation, but we will have polling, live polling that you can participate in, as well as chats. And a chat is where you can tell us, you can respond to questions in writing. The polling is anonymous. The chatting, however, is not. Both of those will be documented and will become part of the record of this meeting and part of the input into the process. So let's just first practice the chat function, just so everyone's comfortable. The chat is located, for those of you who haven't used it, at the bottom of your screen. You click on chat, and then on the right-hand side, you will see some white space appear where you can type. So let's just give it a whirl. Which local establishments have you been able to support over the last couple of months?
You guys have really gotten around. This is great. Lots of pizza. Noon Hill.
Lots of pizza.
Books. The great, the bookshop is open. Fabulous. Starbucks. Okay.
So we're just going to move on, just because we have a lot. So we want to just give you a chance to practice. Now here's the practicing the poll function. Which of these foods do you prefer? Oh, look at that. Looks like scallops and pizza are out in the front runners. But looks like there's something for everyone. There's a little bit of everything, but scallops and pizza definitely tied for first place. So that's just to practice what we're going to be doing around more substantive questions. So here's an introduction to the team. That I'm Daphne Politis. I'll be doing the most of the presentation, although not all. Martha, here on the right, you see is the she's going to be the chat moderator. Jeff is going to be the poll launcher. And Judy is going to be the content questions answerer. We also have a tech team. You see the blue in the text box is the same as the blue in their virtual background. They are here with us all night for your every tech need. So if you need help, you ask Amy, Maggie, or Emily directly by texting them directly, or you just write tech help in the chat and they'll come to your aid. So what are we doing? We're going to be, the presentation has 3 parts. A brief introduction, just to talk a little bit of a reminder of the purpose and the process. Part 1, which is about the key findings of our inventory and existing conditions. And then part 2, the master plan goals and objectives for the future. So part 1 is what are the things that you have, the resources that the town has, and part 2 is about the future. So what is a master plan? It's a basis for decision making. It's about identifying shared values and goals and setting a set of priorities, what to preserve, what to change, concerns, improvements. It's really about how can we make Medfield an even better place to live, work, and play. So tonight we want to share the inventory results, validate what we've heard from a number of forums with a lot of different stakeholders in terms of the goals for the future, and then identify any new priorities that may have emerged due to the impact of COVID-19. So because we'd like to understand who our audience is and we can't see you, so we just like to ask you a couple of questions so we know who's here.
Give you about 10 more seconds to respond.
Okay. Thank you. So what is your gender? No, that's the.
Pretty even.
Yeah, very even. Look at that.
Very even.
Do you have any children in the Medfield public school system?
Everyone's doing very well taking the poll.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's very helpful for us to know who is here with us today. And where do you live? Pretty evenly dispersed throughout the town.
Pretty even.
Pretty even. At least we have representation from all parts of town. So let's start the presentation. Part 1, the key findings. Now you will find detailed reports on the town website on the Townwide Master Plan page. So if you hadn't done so before, please look at that after the the meeting. So the first element, we call them master planning elements, is housing and population. So who lives in Medfield? Oh, a little over 12,500 people, almost all white, and then has the town has the largest percentage of under 18 people in the county. What do you think? What percentage of all households have no children under 18?
A few more seconds. Okay.
So it looks like it's a tie between 25% and 35%. And the answer is 55% of all households in Medfield have no children under 18 years old. What is the housing stock like in Medfield? Well, a lot of large single-family homes, limited rental stock, and a high monthly housing cost for both homeowners and renters. What percentage of Medfield homes do you think have 8 or more rooms? And no, the basement and the garage don't count.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, it looks like 61%. Correct. 61% of Medfield homes have 8 or more rooms. Economic development. So what makes Medfield's economy strong? 388 establishments with over 3,000 employees, and workers are primarily in retail, professional services, education, arts and culture, and food services. And over half of Medfield's residents work in management. Almost 600 residents work at home. What do you think is Medfield's daytime population? That means it includes people who don't live in Medfield, but come to Medfield for work. And remember, the town's residents are 12,600, so.
A few more seconds so everyone can enter. Okay.
Okay, so it looks like most people think that people from Medfield commute out for work and not many people come in for work. Whereas the reality is a lot of people come in for work. 16,000 people comprise the daytime population. Historic and cultural resources, of which Medfield has a lot. So how does Medfield preserve these historic and cultural resources? There are 4 local historic districts and 6 National Registry properties, several interpretive sites, and the Cultural Alliance of Medfield, which is actively engaged in such activities to preserve and promote these resources. How much revenue do you think is generated annually by nonprofit organizations that have to do with art and culture and event-related spending in Medfield?
Gee.
Everyone's quickly filling out the poll. That's great.
That's really good. And that's what we want. We want your gut reaction. You can't be expected to know these things off the top of your head.
Okay, let's share the results.
So it looks like 2.1 million is what most people think. It's actually 3.1 million, according to a 2017 study, that is. Natural and open space resources. So who protects and manages these resources, and how much land is protected? There are a lot of organizations involved: the Army Corps of Engineers, the Trustees of Reservations, DCR from the state, Medfield Conservation Commission, and there are approximately 3,000 acres of open space and natural resources. So what do you think? Out of the state's 351 cities and towns, how does Medfield rank in the amount of permanently protected land?
And 1 is high and 3 is low, 10 is low. Or, I'm sorry, 351 is low.
A few more seconds for those who haven't finished. Okay, here we go.
Okay, looks like most people think it's 35th, and it is 65th. So, moving on to recreation resources. What forms of recreation are popular with Medfield residents? Well, it turns out to be quite wide-ranging. Hiking, canoeing, kayaking, fishing, bird watching, swimming. Some of these have been a little bit on hold over the last couple of months, but hopefully slowly we'll be able to return to our favorite activities. Community gathering at downtown parks, school-based youth athletics, and the Medfield Park and Rec, very popular programming. How many acres of athletic fields do you think Medfield maintains?
Couple more seconds. Okay, here we go.
Okay, looks like most people think 160 acres. And it is actually 260. Transportation and circulation. So how do people get around in Medfield? 25% of employees work in Boston. 69% of residents drive alone to work, or did until recently. 10% of residents work at home, or maybe that's more recently. And we wanted to ask you what you think. What percent of all households have one or no vehicle? So it looks like most people think it's 9%, and they are correct. Public facilities and services. So some key facility and service needs. School enrollments are expected to increase by 800 students in the next 9 years. Medfield youth engage in higher rates of substance abuse than the state, the region, and even the nation. And as the number of older adults increases, they will need additional relevant services. And that's not just a Medfield thing, that's the whole region, if not the nation. The Dale Street School, if vacated, will be available for the town to reuse. So that's something important to think about. What percent of the town is connected to the municipal water system? And this includes both residences as well as commercial establishments.
Couple more seconds. Okay, let's share the results.
So it looks like most people think 59%, but second to most think it's 99. And in fact, it is 99. So a lot of people got that right. Sustainability and future resilience. So the town has actually done a lot to try to plan for a more resilient future. All municipalities are doing more and thinking more about that. So Medfield is also wanting to do that. The town has adopted an energy, I paused because I see these colors coming across. Do you see that on the photo?
I do, yeah.
I don't know where that's coming from. So the town adopted an energy efficiency vehicle policy in 2015. I'm just going to ignore the colors. All streetlights are LEDs, and the townwide solar capacity is 1,600 kilowatts. What do you think, what % of the townwide solar capacity comes from residential buildings?
Give you a few more seconds. Okay, there we go.
So it looks like most people think that it's 20%, and it is 40, twice as much. So that was a very brief presentation of our key findings of and assessment of your existing conditions. The full report on that is located on the town website in two forms. One is a set of summary sheets that are 2-page summaries of each of those elements that we just discussed. And then there is also a very lengthy report for those who would like more detail. So just so you know. Part 2 of the presentation will now be focused on the future. So what are the goals and objectives that the town would like to pursue and to achieve moving forward? These goals were developed with significant stakeholder input. We had 125 participants at the previous live public forum where we could actually see each other and talk to one another. We had 456 respondents to an online survey, over 30 leadership interviews, 130 high school students participated. We interviewed men and women on the street and had, to date, 11 master plan committee meetings. And then things changed. Or did they? COVID-19 hit, devastating individuals, families, communities, indeed the entire planet. So in the meantime, we're adapting short term. So you see here a creative solution to restaurant dining in Amsterdam on the left, and a creative solution to returning to school in China on the right. The children were asked to make their own hats with appropriately distanced wings. Corona also has created some opportunities. Municipalities are reimagining their downtowns, closing streets for outdoor seating, for example, reallocating paved space for pedestrians and bicyclists. And some of these municipalities have already announced that these changes will be permanent, that they tried them out or are in the process of trying them out, piloting them with a goal to make them permanent. Twitter and Facebook have already announced that work from home policies are going to be permanent post-COVID, even after the vaccine. And prior to COVID-19, Boston was apparently behind other cities in the number of companies with work from home policies that for knowledge-based economies. And in fact, significantly so. In the meantime, Transportation Secretary Stephanie Pollock from the state MBTA General Manager, Governor Baker and his office, and area employers, the large area employers, have formed a task force to talk about an organized approach to establishing work from home policies and staggered schedules. So it might just be that when we do return, traffic congestion will not be as bad as it was. So what about how all this might relate and impact Medfield? There's been an increased interest in open space, trails, fresh air, and fitness since the onset of the virus, mainly because those were the only places we could go, but also because it's been shown that, you know, there's much less infection if you're out in the fresh air. And at least in the short run, suburbs will likely be seen as more desirable. Medfield's corona infection rate is the lowest in the Metro West area. So that's a good thing. The town, according to a lot of its residents, has done a lot of, has engaged in a lot of very positive activities in the response to the virus. Providing grants to residents experiencing financial difficulty, having events that help with that. And then the Medfield TV increased its programming, Meals on Wheels, and the community itself was involved in mask making. So given that the town-wide master plan has a 20-year horizon, what do you think should remain the same or has remained the same? How and in what ways does the pandemic affect our goals moving forward? And how can we envision a post-COVID future? So in the master plan, our recommendations will be organized in 3 timescales and they will be phased. The short term is year 1 to year 5. And that's where we see that perhaps COVID will have an impact on our recommendations, or our recommendations would have an impact on COVID, both directions. Then there's the midterm, 5 to 10 years, and then the long term where we're envisioning a post-COVID future. So these are the goals. Protect Medfield's town character, making getting around town safe and pleasant, encourage economic activity, provide a range of housing options, provide public facilities and services that meet the needs of all residents, support the reuse of the state hospital, support health and wellness of residents, and improve governance and plan for future resilience. We're going to now, and just so you know, the order and the numbering does not in any way imply ranking. It's just that when you write things down, it helps to refer to them by number, especially as we kind of flesh these out. And also writing is by definition linear, so they have to be in a certain order, but it does not mean that one is more important than another. So now we're going to go through each of these and ask for your thoughts. The first goal, honor Medfield's town character. These are the objectives we developed as a way to help form the next step towards achieving the goal. And for each of these, we are going to develop action steps. So celebrate the downtown and work to increase its vitality. Preserve and enhance Medfield's historic resources. Protect, enhance, and connect existing natural features and acquire additional open space. Guide development and redevelopment so that it is in keeping with the town's character. So if you have any comments or any questions on this, please type it in the chat. Martha?
Just to remind everybody that the chat will be saved as a file and it is not anonymous. So your comments will have your identification name attached to them. Just be aware of that.
The poll was anonymous, so you know that.
Open space, the
Town character, open space.
And your comments will be used to help us inform the next step. So please, any comments or questions?
Interested in development and redevelopment, natural features and open space are very much on people's minds in terms of how to preserve the town character, including the rail trail, also sidewalks, connecting retail, beautifying the town center, so that people will go in day and night. Implementing design review. A lot of interest in sidewalks, especially connecting down to Shaw's. Bike lanes, trail networks across town, more bike paths.
So in the interest of time, because we have 8 goals, how does it look, Martha? Is there a lot of chat activity?
There's still, but I think it's it's repetitive, so I think we can add this.
So, and it sounds like some of I was thinking that also because some of those comments would also be relevant here, making getting around town safe and pleasant by improving traffic congestion and making traveling by the automobile safer, improving parking when and where possible, improving existing infrastructure and extending the pedestrian and bicycle networks, which there seems to be a lot of interest in, and exploring the possibilities for providing public transportation. So please type in the chat any comments or questions.
I love this, removing power lines as part of the sidewalk improvement projects. Yes, so we can preserve our trees.
Although very expensive.
Yes,
Very expensive, yes, unnecessarily so. In the long run, it's a lot cheaper. Better traffic signals at the railroad crossings, extending the bicycle networks, improving the traffic light signalization to improve the flow, exploring public transportation forms. Traffic calming, considering downtown street closure for outdoor dining. Resisting state pressure to make Main Street a thoroughfare to Millis. It's a good one. No Tresca trucks. Bus to commuter rail. Replacing policies with the anti-racist ones. Intertown transit. Lower speed limits. These are great comments.
So let's move to the next one. Encourage economic activity, diversify the tax base, become more business friendly. Comments and questions in the chat.
Encouraging
encouraging
businesses.
businesses. Pardon me, Martha, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Businesses closed too early on the weekends. Not enough industrial zoning. Main Street closure during the summers could help businesses. Need more tax relief, so increase in development for that. More public-private partnerships.
Judy, did you want to say anything about this?
No, about the partnerships or generally?
No, generally economic activity.
No, I mean, I think these comments they're all right on as far as I'm concerned. I think people really understand kind of what the needs are in the community. The diverse dining options is right on. People don't want to have to drive far away, especially in this climate. They want to be close. So, you know, and I think downtown generally is going to be a challenge for every community coming out of the COVID-19 experience.
Judy is our economic development expert, that's why. So, Martha, should I wrap up?
I think so, yeah.
Goal 4, provide a range of housing options. Provide smaller units for older adults, younger adults, and others looking for more affordable housing. Encourage the development of alternative housing types. Comments, questions in the chat, please.
More senior living options, more affordable housing, more diverse housing. A lot of questions about the state hospital and what's up with that. More housing for seniors. Apartments, senior living housing, supporting 40B housing initiatives, senior small homes, etc. Again, Judy, would you like to comment on any of this since you studied housing in Medfield so much?
I think that the comments that are in here about implementing the housing production plan are very important because that's part of what you've done that's held you in such good stead in terms of Chapter 40B. The interest in senior housing makes sense in light of the data about the town. It's important, however, to also understand that when you're trying to develop more housing to meet a variety of needs, you can't zone families out. You need to be able to think about a diverse range of options. So I think that'll continue to be a challenge for all of our suburbs.
Great. Okay, I think we're ready to move on. Daphne.
Thank you. Goal 5, provide public facilities and services that meet the needs of all residents. Support excellence in education. Continue to plan, manage, and maintain municipal facilities and improve municipal utilities. Under each of those, of course, are a large number of specific action steps, too numerous here to include on the slide, but wanting to open it up to your thoughts.
Town supplied internet, encouraging solar. Don't skimp on school buildings and continue the excellence in education. Get a better understanding of why water conservation is important for various reasons. Encourage energy and efficiency in buildings. So a lot of support for schools and then increasing energy and energy efficiency. Daphne?
Goal number 6, support the reuse of the state hospital. I mean, this is a pretty unique goal in terms of, comparing to other towns. And Medfield has undergone a lot of planning efforts with this regard, and recently developed a hospital state hospital reuse master plan. So implementing that is the first objective, and then reusing the town buildings and campus to meet town needs. So comments, questions, type in chat. It seems that there were some comments with regard to this in some of the previous goals.
Mm-hmm. Yes, especially in regard to housing and economic development.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping the hospital as is. Creating a 9-hole golf course for residents' use. Incorporate housing needs and address housing needs. And then interest in keeping the municipal buildings downtown. Interesting, hiring a professional to attract business development at the hospital.
I believe there is a development committee in place that has been focused on working on that.
Put the chapel on a fast track. They'd like everything net zero. Mix of commercial and affordable housing.
Did you see the increase the town planner's budget? comment there?
Yeah, that went by too quickly. Arts and Cultural Center. Energy efficiency. Can the hospital property be used as it was originally intended? Sports complex. And then, yes, a higher salary for the town planner. Okay.
On that note, goal number 7, support health and wellness of residents. Now, I'm just reminding you that these goals were developed pre-COVID, and the objectives as well. So the objectives are as follows: maintain existing and provide additional opportunities for recreation, promote healthy lifestyle choices, especially for youth, support older adults to age in place, attract a more diverse population to live in town, and expand opportunities for community gathering. Comments, questions in the chat, please.
More side knot walks. Let us walk. Promote bike lanes, walking and biking. Support older adults to age in place.
Any ideas
Development
about how to do that? The person who wrote that, any ideas? What would be most important as a
Yeah.
support for aging in place?
Attracting a more diverse population. Making roads accessible to all users.
Again, attracting a more diverse population. Any ideas about how?
And remembering that the arts support this goal as well because they increase activity. Lower cost housing. Sustainability issues relate directly to health. Again, aging in place, in-home services, more pocket parks and street lights. Black experience in America as a class that's mandatory in the schools.
Wow.
Health, right? Health and wellness.
More access along the sides of roads, more equity in the schools, which may attract a more diverse population. And build running paths all over town. Love that. Address youth and drug problems. Attention to reducing light pollution.
So about the youth drug problems, any ideas about how to address them?
Lowering the taxes for people who've lived in town for more than 20 years and have no children in the schools. More programming at times for working parents. So much happens during the working hours. More for kids to do and places to gather. Again, recommendations for activities would be great for that one. Stop noise coming from the trust-fed trucks. Don't cut the outreach budget. And outdoor recreation in the arts reduces drug use, improves mental health. Create a location for a food cupboard. The food cupboard. Keep supporting the arts and music. Create a park and rec center. Okay, I think we're good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. These are excellent.
So the 8th and last goal, improve governance and plan for future resilience. So improve town governance. Any ways that you think would be important to do that? And promote measures that respect and protect the environment. Again, we're looking for thoughts regarding action steps that would promote and achieve these objectives. comment.
5 selectmen instead of 3. There's a lot of people coming in with comments about that.
Hmm.
I'd say that's dominating the chat at the moment.
Hmm.
More involvement from the public. Adopt a climate goal for Medfield.
Hmm.
Develop anti-racial racist policies.
What does that mean about the anti-racist policies?
Yes, that whoever wrote that, please elaborate. Communicate more town government information to the public. A more diverse select board and Zoom meetings post-COVID. Sustainability coordinator for the town. Okay. Good. More diversity on committees. A lot of post-COVID Zoom meetings are popular. That's interesting.
Can someone say why?
Term limits.
Why the post-COVID Zoom meetings? We think so too, but we'd like to know why you think so.
It's easy to attend, someone's saying. Higher participation. Getting a sitter is a pain.
Plus expensive.
Easier to attend. Better participation. No babysitter. One person said a no-brainer. I'm attending from Maine. Can involve both parents. Chat function allows people to speak up without anxiety of speaking in public. I missed the free meal.
We miss serving it to you as well.
Easier and faster to watch meetings you miss.
And we are live streaming it on Facebook as well.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, so next steps. We want you to stay with us. We need your input to be continual. We need your evaluation of how we're doing, if we're missing anything. So please stay involved. What we're going to do is we're going to review and share on the town website your responses and input from today's virtual forum. We're going to compile responses to an online survey that we're going to give you a link to. And then we're going to develop recommendations incorporating this input, at which point we will present an implementation plan for public input. So this implementation plan that we've yet to develop, that's our next step, will identify priority timing. So it would be kind of a phased set of actions. And then what we call ripe apples, low-hanging fruit, things that are relatively easy, low-cost actions that make a difference that you can do in the beginning to keep the momentum going. And the implementation plan will identify responsible parties, existing resources, potential partners, and if possible, any kind of funding or budgeting information. The third forum, where we will present the plan, the whole plan, the implementation strategies, and identify priorities with your help, is to be announced in terms of the date, in terms of the location, whether it's going to be virtual, whether it's going to be in person. All of that is yet to be decided. So please check in frequently on the town website where you will find that information. Now, we really, really appreciate that you took a time out on this Sunday afternoon, and we'd like to send you a small gift to express that appreciation for your participation. And we really appreciate your comments. Some of those were very, very helpful to us to kind of come up with recommendations that seem most relevant to Medfield. And all of the comments were very helpful for us to understand how it is that you're feeling and thinking about these issues. So please click on the link that you see in the chat in order to receive your gift. It's a confidential document where you will give us your address so that Sarah Raposa, the town planner, who has the gifts, who's acquired the gifts, and whose idea it was to give you a gift, will receive, and then she will send them to you. So Martha, is it in the chat?
Yes, Sarah and I both put it in.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's the three different chat items that with the link.
Daphne, does somebody need to save the chat now so we don't lose all these comments?
Yes.
No, the chat is automatically saved. I have it on
Okay.
automatic. The in the breakout rooms, it will need to be saved individually.
Right. Okay.
But thank you for that, Jay, because that would really be a shame.
And Daphne, I've saved them again as a backup.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I'm as you do that, I'm going to move on. And I'd like to invite you to a small group discussion right after having a 5-minute break. The small group discussions will primarily focus on how to recover and be resilient post-COVID, but there will be opportunities to discuss other things as well. How many of you, Jeff, if you wouldn't mind launching the poll, do you think want to participate? It's going to be just in about 5 minutes. How many of you think you'd like to participate? And you can stay on for as long or as little as you like. It's, you know, again, it's, you get up from your seat and you go to dinner or whatever you want to do. Okay. So it looks like we'll have about 17 people, which means we will have 2 groups. And you can change your mind, by the way, anytime, even after leaving. So here's a link to the survey. Martha, if you wouldn't mind putting it in the chat. You could also use the QR code to respond to the survey. And also please tell your friends and neighbors to take it. Now, the questions in the survey are the survey begins with the questions we're going to discuss in the small group, but then has additional questions. Now, if you attend the small group and you know, it's your first time thinking about these things, you can also answer them in the survey because you'll have more time to think about them. But there are more questions in the survey than in the small group. Is now the link in the chat?
Geez,
Not yet.
not yet. Okay, I've got to try this again. Sorry about that.
I'll go get the link. Hold tight.
The link is right here on the slide.
But it's not hot. It's not live.
No,
No,
but if you
no.
could copy it maybe, no?
Yeah, and the survey link will be live on the town's website at 8 p.m. tonight as well.
That's right.
Thank you, Sarah.
So we're going to take a 5-minute break and Maggie's going to play a really nice video during that break. Please hang on.
Somebody typing the link and putting in the chat.
I'm going to get it.
Sarah's
Okay.
doing that. Sarah's getting the link. And while Sarah does that, Maggie's going to play a video. And it's a really nice video. I think you like it. It's very Medfield. These are 2 members of the committee, the Townwide Master Plan Committee that created the photography.
Maggie, can you increase the volume?
We can't hear it, Maggie.
And the survey link is in the chat. Thank you again, Sarah.
And once this, Maggie, we can't hear it. Once the video is over, then we'll go into the small discussion groups. Well, this does have music associated with the photographs, but the photographs are beautiful on their own. So the pilot was Jay Duncan, who's the chair of the committee. and Teresa took the photographs from the airplane. And the title of this is Medfield from All Angles. Pun intended. Okay, so do this